extremely proud to hear that, and proud of you, man, for what you've grown over the years, you know, and for where you are now at this
Yeah.
point, you know, looking back 19 years later, you know.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Hats off to you.
Appreciate that.
How did you grow this? Now this is something that you grew from the ground
Yeah.
up. You know, it wasn't like you went and you bought, you know, someone's practice that was retiring, you know, that was already established and, you know, already had all these patients set up. You know, you grew this, you know, ground up. What were some of the things that it took to do that, you know?
You know, patience, man. Patience. You know, I think day one when we open the doors, you'd love to have 20 people run in, but that's not the case, right? And so it starts with, in my opinion, building a brand, right? Something that you can stand behind, that people can then use to share with others, right? So from a marketing point of view, it was Facebook and Instagram and direct mail, health fairs. We spoke at Fort Bend Independent School District. We spoke at Montessori schools. You know, just getting your face out there, right? Pretty much any opportunity that I was invited to, I went. I went to Hightower High School, spoke to their HOSA group
That's what's up.
at least once or twice. I invited high school students who were looking to rotate to come to the office. And so every marketing or advertisement opportunity, we took advantage of it. And I think that's what helped to build our success. And then, like I said, the brand, you know, I think the Google reviews help because, you know, nowadays we're a society where we want to read reviews first. Before you go
Yeah.
to the restaurant, before you get your
Yeah.
coffee fix, before you get your suit tailored, you're going to go on Yelp or Google and, you know,
Yep.
at the facility, you're going to take a look at the photos of the facility. And so we really prided ourselves on being, you know, professional, clean, modern, high-tech, state-of-the-art, monitors in the room, patient portal, televisits. I mean, the list goes on and on vision. And then, of course, you know, I wouldn't be here without the strong support staff that I have around me, my nurse practitioner, a dietitian, the medical assistants, the visiting students we've added extra help, my marketing team, office manager, practice management team. The list goes on because there's a lot you don't know when you're opening a practice, right? You don't know which EMR to choose. You don't know what benefits package to choose. You don't know when to offer benefits. A lot of the things that you may not necessarily learn in residency because there's not enough time to teach you medicine and business, right?
Right.
You know, you learn along the way. Every opportunity is a learning opportunity. You say to yourself, man, you know, I didn't get this right this time, but next time now I know, right? And so as long as you continue to re-event and evaluate and grow, I think success is destined for you.
That's amazing. That, you know, we're in 2020, and obviously, you know, this pandemic has affected everybody. Um, how was it that, you know, how did it affect your practice, you know, initially, and how were you able to adapt, you know, and kind of survive through that? Because we know, you know, a lot of small businesses were affected, you know, and got you know, didn't make it through, you know.
Very true.
But thankfully, you know, you're still here, you're doing good. How was it that COVID, you know, either initially had an impact, and how were you able to kind of, you know, roll with it, adapt, and keep going?
Well, so now we're what, December 2020. So I remember, you know, March 2020 pretty well. I mean, it was like, you know, there were a few cases on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, West, it might have been both, East and West. Seattle was getting hit pretty heavy. New York was starting to get hit. And it was just chatter. And then, you know, it quickly, we were hearing about cruise ships being stranded. And then all of a sudden, the state of Texas shut down right after mid-March.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for us, being in medicine, we also shut down, right? As we figured out protocols, because, you know, no office, I don't think, was really prepared for what was going to happen. Really, no one was probably prepared, whether you're a baker or a laundromat or a I mean, everything changed so fast. And so we shut down. We still did televisits. And so I think the luxury of medicine is that we were still able to, see most of our patients through televisits. But during that time, we had to figure out new protocols. How do you screen employees? How do you screen patients? At that point, COVID tests were taking 10, 12 days to come back. I mean, it was bananas. So it took a lot of consulting and figuring out how we wanted to safely bring back employees, how we wanted to safely bring back patients. Because, there are just some things you can't do on televisits, right? I can't really look in someone's ear on televisit. I can't really evaluate someone's tonsils or listen to their heart. They were, so we're family medicine, full spectrum, right? So we see newborns to grandma and grandpa. And so, how do we give vaccines out to the 12-month-old or 10-month-old who needs vaccines, right? So that they don't get behind. And that they have the immunity to kind of maintain their health. So it was definitely an adjustment, but I think we did really well. We were closed for office patients for probably 6 weeks. We just did televisits, and then we slowly opened up, 2 days a week. We limited the number who came in. They had to do online check-in before they came upstairs. Sanitizing. I mean, at one point, Lysol was out, Clorox wipes were out. I mean, it was really a scramble to kind of get all the PPE that we needed, right? I don't think most offices were equipped to have the shields and goggles and N95s that were needed. And so it was a mad dash to, get resources to safely take care of patients.
Wow, nice. And now you're, back to full speed, trucking along. That's awesome, man. Congrats on that. What are some of the, if we look now, you're here, you're a doctor, you graduated, you finished residency, you've got your practice going, it's like you're here now, you've accomplished these things, man. First of all, how does it feel?
Feels good. Feels really good. It's cliche to, when they say, find something you love, you never have to work a day in your life. And I love medicine. I love my practice. I love what I do. I love taking care of patients. And so for me, it's no stress to wake up and come in here on a Saturday, to come in here late evening and see patients till 8 p.m. I take call for all my patients. And so, getting that call at 8 p.m., 10 p.m., my baby has a fever, or my grandmother just fell, what should I do? I mean, I really love the job. I appreciate all those mentors along the way who motivated me and encouraged me. And so, I'm living that dream that, young Danny set out to figure out 10, 20 years ago. And so it's a great feeling. It's a really good feeling. And then to be able to take care of patients who saw that journey, right? And friends who saw that journey, right? People who, seriously have known me since like 15, right? For them to come in and say, hey, I'm so proud of you, or I want you to take care of my newborn, or I want you to take care of my daughter, or, whatever the case may be, or I'm going to refer you or recommend you to my neighbor. Like, to me, that's the greatest testament to how well we're doing, is when a patient of mine comes and sees me for the first time, and then within 2 weeks, I'm seeing the entire family, right? The newborn, the husband, grandmother, and that happens, man, it seems like every month we're adding true families to our practice. And so
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And, speaking of something like that, it's, for me, it's surreal, to now be here, and have friends like yourself, I don't know if I've shared this story before, but at least on the podcast, but I remember it was a friend of mine that we were studying together she was trying to get into med school. So she was studying MCAT, I was studying the PCAT, pharmacy. And this must have been 2010 or something, 2009, 2010, we would go to HBU libraries, Houston Baptist. We weren't students there, but we just needed a place to study.
Yeah.
And, we were studying, trying to get into school. Long story short, we both got in the same year, went off to school. And, now coming back, we're both back here in Houston, back home, and I saw this friend of mine. We go to the same church. So I saw her in church before the pandemic, maybe around February or something. And we're just catching up, like, oh, how's it going? Oh, okay, you're back. Okay, you're a doctor. What type of doctor? Oh, she's like, I'm a podiatrist. And I'm like, oh, word, I got this, my foot has been, and she was like, oh, that's, come by the office, And so yeah, I made an appointment, went and saw her, and it was just like, whoa, now this this friend of mine now has her own office, her own practice, her own thing that she's running. And I saw her as a patient, and it was kind of mind-boggling, like, man, like, here we are,
Yep.
From those days that we were both studying together, running around, just trying to make it.
I agree.
And we're here. It's a surreal feeling, man. It's just trying to wrap your head around it. It's ridiculous. But definitely proud of yourself and what you've accomplished. I think it's definitely amazing. And also to be back, in the community, back home, you're probably just a few miles down from high school,
Right here in Sugar Land.
Yeah, right here, in Sugar Land, serving the community and the population, that you grew up with. That's amazing. Now you're this hometown hero, homegrown. Hey, like, man, if not you, then who, man? Like,
it's true. That's true.
It's amazing. It's amazing. If you look back, man, what are some of the biggest? And I know you've touched on this, quite a bit. But what would you say some of the biggest challenges, or maybe even disappointments, or things that along the way in this journey, this very long journey, took about this whole thing took about what, 16, 17 years, for you to get here?
I think I don't really look at them as I think I view failures as lessons learned, right? And not even really failures, but roadblocks or bumps, because everyone is going to have those, no matter what you do, where you're from, what you're learning, what you're training in, what career you go into. And so it's really about how you rebound, right? One of the things that I feel like I had to learn early was, sometimes you're going to go out there, you're going to study your hardest for that exam, and you're going to get defeated. It just is what it is. You didn't prepare right.
Yeah.
Too late. The questions were switched up. It was a written test instead of an oral, whatever the case may be, right? And so I think as long as you take those setbacks and you use them as lessons learned to equip yourself for whatever is next, that's the best advice I can give these, young students or parents or whatever it may be. You have to continue to adapt, right? You have to continue to evolve. Even as a physician, you don't know it all now. Just because I walked across the stage as an MD graduate or opened up my own practice, that doesn't mean that, I don't have to get re-credentialed or recertified or take additional board exams or go to these conferences and learn more. And so continuing to push yourself, even once you think you're at that finish line, is what keeps you great and taking care of people the way you need to be taken care of as a physician. The other big lesson that I don't know if I spoke on yet was goal setting. I think it's underrated to talk about how important goal setting is, right? Because goal setting sets things up as a vision, right? If you don't have goals, you kind of just wander.
Yep.
And it's easy to get lost and get distracted. And before you know it, you're far from what you envisioned yourself being, right? And so you have to set goals, man. I remember in high school, man, for me, it was just as simple as having an agenda, an organizer, right? And I'd write in that organizer, okay, this week I need to do this, especially when it comes to 11th and 12th grade, as you're getting ready for SAT, ACT, colleges, career fairs, college fairs. You got to really, envision what it is that you're trying to seek out there, man. And so for me, goal setting is really important. Having a purpose is really important. Every day, if you're drinking your coffee, meditate and think on what you want to do that day. While you're on that bus, that train ride, or Uber ride, wherever you're going, really take that time in the morning and figure out, okay, this is what I need to set for myself today. We do this thing at our office called a huddle every morning, right? Every morning we come in, myself, the nurse practitioner, the staff, office manager, medical assistants, and we huddle. And we say, okay, this is the number of patients we have today. These are the number of procedures we're doing. This is our goal for today. These are the things we didn't get accomplished yesterday. And so you have to always keep that in front of your mind of, okay, what is the vision for today? And did I successfully do what I wanted to do yesterday?
Yeah.
For me, that goes miles and miles and miles ahead of what you really should be doing. And then you got to be disciplined, right? I think on this long journey that we call the marathon, from high school to undergrad to professional school and everything else, you got to really stick to what works for you, right? And being disciplined means, if you got to get up at 7 a.m. every morning, you got to get up. If you got to get up at 6, you got to get up. If the gym is important to you, you got to get to the gym. If, taking your medications, if you have medications you got to take is important to you, you got to take those. And, discipline is really important, keeping you grounded and having that structure. That doesn't mean that you can't break away and, hey, I want to watch a movie tonight or Netflix this, or go out and get a good dinner here and there. But, discipline goes a long way. What you do when you are alone really sets the stage for how well you're preparing yourself, right? And so keep pushing yourself to be great, because failures will happen, obstacles will pop up. And then the last thing I'll add is, that self-development piece, right? When that obstacle comes or when you get challenged with something, what do you do after that, right? Are you defeated and ready to give up? Are you ready to drop the class? Are you ready to transfer? Are you ready to withdraw? Whatever the case may be, it's what you do next that's going to determine how well you maneuver through adversity. And, we can do a whole additional podcast on failures and adversity and life lessons, what it means and how it strengthens you. But, what I always tell, young students or those who seek me out to be a mentor is, it's going to happen, right? And so if you're prepared the best you can and that does happen, you just have to rebound from that and keep pushing, right? Make yourself better on that next opportunity, and you'll do fine.
That's awesome, man. That's yeah, we could definitely keep, go on and talk about it. If you could tell, and I know these have been, maybe it's just all the stuff that you've already said, but if you could go back and see this 15-year-old, 16-year-old Daniel back at Hightower in the year, 2002, 3, 4, running the hallways with Josiah and and Famous.
Exactly. Wearing food, thinking I'm cool with my chain on and all that. 2000s, yeah.
Yeah. If you could go back and see that kid, man, like, what would you tell him?
Yeah. I tell him to stay grounded, stay humble, and just remind him that it's a marathon. It is. Again, I'm a religious person, and so keep God in your life, and just to keep pushing, push, man, because there are going to be a lot of people that tell you no along the way. You're going to reach out to a mentor, and they're going to say no. You're going to ask somebody, hey, do you think I'm the best candidate to be a pre-med or to go to med school? And then they say no. You're going to apply to an internship, and you're going to get denied. So you just have to bounce back. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep your goal in mind. You have to stay focused, discipline, all those same principles, man. These are, you know, all the characteristics of highly successful people. You look at people, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, Magic Johnson, all these guys who are successful businessmen. My favorite show is the Shark Tank, right? I love Shark Tank. I love seeing these business pitches, and you look at everyone who's been on that Shark Tank, and it's real life, right? It's people who have a vision, a business, or an idea, or a dream, and they may have been shot down already 3, 4, 5, 6 times, 13 times, but you never know what that next invention, idea, proposal is going to do, right? So you got to keep pushing. You got to stay focused. Surround yourself with good people. I mean, you and I are a testament that when you surround yourself with good people, 20 years later, those good people are still going to be around you. They're still going to be that people that you trust. Those would be my biggest advice. And then I'd also add, once you make it to the end of that journey, or you think you're at the end of that journey, you can't forget about where you came from, right? You got to be able to reach your hand back and pull that next person up the ladder or down the trail with you. Because for me, it does no good for me to be at the end of the trail and then not being able to inspire or push that next generation. Because, in 30 years from now, or 40 years from now, when I'm no longer practicing medicine, I need to know that, there's still another young and great Dr. Nwachokor out there who's going to be able to take over this patient panel that I have, or another young and great physio who's ready to inspire the next group of pharmacists or young leaders, right? And so, never forgetting where you came from and remembering to reach back is just as important as the journey to get to where you're going.
Man, that's awesome, man. And that's one thing that I'm really, really happy to hear you talk about. And I know that you're already doing this, as far as like the mentorship and going back to Hightower where we started, speaking to the kids out there, just trying to give back, just trying to inspire, just trying to make sure that you're able to show them what that, hey, this is what, I was in your shoes. I was sitting in these seats right here. And just kind of give them that, because that's an amazing example, to have. And so I'm definitely happy to hear you talk about that. Why don't we talk a little bit, as we round up, just a little bit about, you spoke a little bit about your dad and, him being in oil and gas. And I know your little sister, she was also in high school with us. She came in probably 2 years, behind us or so. She's also a physician now. You come from a great, kind of family of just go-getters, And how was that? And obviously growing up in a Nigerian household, and what that does for you. I know I could speak to it, as far as like, helping keeping me grounded, and as far as pushing and things like that. What would you say as far as that, kind of the influence of your family, your dad, for the longest, man, I thought your dad was a physician like you. For the longest, I thought he was, because I thought that was why you were kind of going into medicine, but still, even being in oil and gas, that's amazing, and I know he had, I'm sure, some type of,
absolutely,
impact.
In my experience, man, my parents were tremendous, right? They wanted to expose me to everything that I could possibly do, right? I played soccer, tennis, football, golf, this club, that club, Boy Scouts, altar server, for me, saxophone. I mean, the list goes on. Things that, that I was involved in when I was younger. But in every one of those things, it taught me something, right? And in the moment, again, you don't realize what playing an instrument teaches you about practice and patience and hard work. You don't understand what, being the president of the NAACP youth group or, um, being an Eagle Scout means, right? Until later on when you're realizing, oh, wow, what this did teach me how to communicate with adults. This taught me how to, time management. This taught me how to be responsible. And so, I applaud my parents, tremendously for, instilling in me a lot of that hard work and discipline, virtue that you really need as you navigate this world, right? And for me, being the oldest of four, I felt like I had to be that role model, that example to my other three siblings. And so, I would always, want them to be better than me. And they were. My sister, who came up right behind me, smashed my MCAT score, smashed T. She's now an OBGYN resident at UTMB. But man, she well equipped. She took my blueprint and she, mastered it. And then after her comes my twin brothers, who are, one of them went to Howard and is a dentist now.
Wow.
An engineer, the one that went to Morehouse. And again, they took her blueprint and then redrafted it themselves and mastered it even more. And so I like to think that I was that guinea pig who handed them. And even though I'm very proud of my accomplishments, I'm even more proud of what they were able to accomplish. And so family is huge. It's huge. You need that family support. You need that love. You need that shoulder to cry on when it gets tough. Family just goes above and beyond. And I think I probably wouldn't be here without, God first, family second, right? That support system for me was what made the difference in me being able to get to where I am. Probably why I'm a family medicine doctor now, right? And again, probably why I went to an HBCU. Family, family, family. That theme is, really important to me, and I think I can see it now more than ever in my life and what I do.
That's awesome, man. And shout out to your sister. She was in Hightower with us.
Yeah.
And I knew she was going to go on and do great things.
Yeah.
So definitely, congrats to her.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Last question, man. To round up, what are now that you're here, like you've accomplished all of this, man. What are some of the next things that you have planned? What are the next goals? What are the next, whatever things to tackle?
Man, one of the great things about medicine is that in medicine, whatever your interests are, you can find something in medicine to do. If you're interested in art, you can be a medical illustrator. If you're interested in space, you can be, a space physician, a NASA physician. Maritime medicine. If you love going on cruises and you want to be a doc on a cruise ship, that's an option. And so, I think what I got from medicine the most is that it equipped me with the confidence, with the skill set that, sky's really the limit.
Yeah.
I think for now, I want to just continue to build the brand we have here, Community Health and Life Center. I want to continue to, take care of my patients as best as possible. I think the future of expanding to maybe a Community Health and Life Center, Pearland, or Community Health and Life Center, Katy, would be really cool.
That's what's up, man.
At some point, maybe maybe even try multi-specialty and bring sister and brother-in-law, have OBGYN and dentistry along with family medicine. I think that's an option.
That's what's up.
Still have this business desire, and so I don't know if food and beverage industry is next step for me, but I definitely want to continue to grow my business interests. And then, of course, technology. Technology is at a point now where with medicine, you can do so much. I mean, I think there's a space now for telemedicine, and there's a new specialty developing called virtualists, which are basically doctors who just do telemedicine.
Wow.
The space for Medical apps is growing tremendously. You know, now to see what the capabilities of an Apple Watch or a Fitbit can do, I think that has a lot of solutions to help in the future. And so, um, political aspirations, who knows where I'll be, man. Keep grinding, man, and keep evolving, and you know, just continuing to make the community proud, make my family proud. But sky's the limit, man. And I think in medicine you can do so much. I mean, from the CEO of a hospital to a politician to an entrepreneur, never stop dreaming is what I would say, man.
Man, that's amazing, man. When you get that political post, bro, don't
Yeah,
forget us, man.
I won't, man. I won't. I won't. Absolutely. There's been a lot of good friends along the way. You got it.
Yeah, man, I wasn't expecting that, but that's pretty cool, man. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. But wow, this has been a real great interview, man. I mean, I didn't expect anything less.
Thank you. Thank
We've
you.
been rocking for 19 years, you know,
Yeah.
and now literally 19 years, almost 20.
Yeah.
And now to look back and see, you know, where we came from, where we started, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Who would have thought, man, you know, those days running around in Hightower, you know, just, you know.
I'm telling you, man. All you can do is look back and smile, man. And
Yeah.
laugh and just embrace those moments like that. Prom and football games and homecoming and
Yeah.
getting
Parties.
your car and all that stuff, man.
Yeah. You know, all of that, you know, the girls and, you know.
Yeah. Dating,
But,
yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. And now here we are, man, 19 years later.
It is. It's a blessing, man, to be able to be here. And like I said, your platform, I want you to continue to grow, man, and you know, propel and inspire not only students but adults, because there's a lot of people looking for, you know, that next step in their lives, right? And
Yeah.
it's never too late to dead an idea or to stop dreaming. And so,
Yeah.
you know, keep using your platform to inspire. Keep using your
Appreciate
platform to, you know, bring in these guests that ordinarily people wouldn't have an opportunity to see or talk to.
Right.
And I think it also speaks to, you know, one of the big visions that I have. It's important to see people who look like you doing what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's physician, dentist, pharmacist,
Yeah.
entrepreneur, whatever it is, right?
Representation.
Exactly. When you can see somebody who looks like you doing what you're doing, it solidifies your dream. It lets you know, this is something that I can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Appreciate it, man. And that's kind of one of the things I'm trying to do is, you know, really bring in people that, you know, that aren't, you know, unfamiliar, that wouldn't be so unfamiliar to, you know, the people watching, you know, because a lot of times we may not see that, we may not see ourselves, we may not see something that, you know, really represents us, you know, in what we're trying to get into. You know, there's not too many, you know, Black men in medicine. There's not too many Black men, you know, in pharmacy, you know. And so bringing in people like yourself, you know, who've done it, and it's not just that, but also like being able to speak to, okay, yeah, no, it wasn't easy.
Challenges, yeah.
This was the challenge that I went through, you know, so that people know as well that, man, you know, like, man, if he could go through that, if he could go through this, you know, then I think I could probably, you know, make it through whatever it is that I'm going through. And so that's kind of one of my goals with this, you know. And then like you mentioned, you know, people that are trying to get into or reinvent themselves or get into some type of career transition or this or that. My last guest, you know, is in the middle of a PhD program right now, you know, and we met the same thing about 15 years ago at UT, you know. And so being able to say, okay, people are still able to say, I want to do this now, and they do it. I want to do this now, and they do it, you know, and how that was, you know. So I appreciate it. I definitely that's one of my goals and my vision is to provide that and to, you know, be able to showcase that, you know, provide a platform where people could talk about that.
I agree, man. You're doing a hell of a job. Keep it up.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I know we've been trying to get you on for a second. I know how busy you are, man. And so
Man, I'm glad we were able to get it filmed
yeah, I definitely appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, I know that. I know how busy you are with, just work and practice and just being able to take the time out to come on. It's an honor, man. I definitely appreciate it.
I look forward to interview 2.0, man, and 3.0 and everything else.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there's a ton of topics, and I think there's an audience for people who want to hear exactly what you have. And so keep it up, man. Keep pushing.
Definitely, man. Definitely appreciate you. But thank you so much again. It was a pleasure to have you on. It's a great conversation, great topics, great story, great journey, and for people, should we do a shameless plug?
What's that?
Just where we talk about, hey, if anybody is looking in this area for a physician.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Listen, I think if you're looking for a great physician, an amazing office, chronic disease management, whether it's diabetes, hypertension, weight loss, we have a dietitian, women's health, we have a female nurse practitioner, se habla español, Spanish-speaking providers and staff. We're your place. I think we offer everything that any other practice would offer. Vaccinations, travel medicine, home visits once COVID gets back under control, telemedicine. We're here at Memorial Herman Sugarland, Medical Plaza 1. The office number is 346-616-0038. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. We just do a tremendous job of taking care of patients, and we pride ourselves on being different and giving patients the time that they need, individualized medicine. You're not just going to get in here and have me for 5 minutes and then right out the door. And our reviews speak to that. So 346-616-0038, Community Health and Life Center here in Sugarland. Dr. Daniel Nwachokor and staff.
Amazing. And one thing that I will add to this, because I personally can attest to this, something that I know that I can tell everyone, Daniel has been definitely, he's spoke to kind of that visionary and that, that mindset to kind of offer things that a lot of the bigger, traditional practices don't necessarily offer. Like he, spoke to in his residency when he was first, before he graduated and started, or before he opened his own practice up, that, hey, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing X, Y, and Z? And no one really could answer him. I know that Daniel reached out to me some months back, about trying to offer some, some therapy, different types of therapy. I don't necessarily get into the specifics of it, but he reached out to me as a pharmacist and said, hey, man, I want to do this in my clinic. Like, how can I do this? I want to offer this for my patients, and, we talked about it, and I definitely can attest to the fact that he's thinking outside the box. He's looking at, ways to enhance patient care and to provide, services that would really be a value added to his patient, bring more value to his patients. And so he's definitely on that mind frame and on that landscape where, it's not just your, same old run of the mill, doctor visit or whatnot. He's thinking ahead, and he's trying to add, and he's been adding, and he has added, these different elements to his practice to really enhance
wellness. True wellness.
Yeah. So definitely wanted to add that, because I know that you've reached out to me, personally on some of these. So, but yes, anybody who's looking and who wants, or who needs a good doctor in the area, in the Sugar Land area, Houston area, definitely come out to see Daniel at his practice.
You got it. You got it. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Don't mention it, man. Don't mention it. But thank you. This has been great. We will definitely. I would love to have you back on for a second part where we get into some other things, because I know there's a lot we got, that we could have, gotten into,
Absolutely.
Man, we're already at about an hour and a half, man. This has been amazing.
So to leave other questions in the comments, right?
Yeah. Anybody that has
subscribe,
questions,
all that good stuff. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. We appreciate you for watching. Thank you for watching. This has been another great episode of Highlighting Greatness with Asaya. Thank you, everyone.